Well, hello there, motherfuckers. And I had to do a little bit of a response here. I tried defending myself about Roman Reigns in the previous video, and I've got people giving me hell. So, I'm one of the biggest critics here of WWE here in the YWC. People already notice. They know what I'm about. That I try to dig up all the bullshit I can about WWE, talk about what sucks, what can make it better. And now I got people giving me hell because I told the truth. And I had said this time and time again. And you could go back, watch. I had even made numerous videos where I was actually pro Cena. It's not a new thing. I had said it time and time again. Sometimes Cena does good. Sometimes Roman Reigns does good. I'm not a fan of either guy, but I do tell the truth. I mean, that's one thing I said. I pride myself here on YouTube, here in the YWC. I'm the only person, well, one of the few that tells the truth, that, is not really biased. Like I said, I'm not a Roman Reigns fan, but when I'm watching a match and I'm entertained by what I'm seeing, I don't like Roman Reigns. I don't really like how they portrayed his character. I had said this, and I stand by it. I never once said that I go back on anything I said about Roman Reigns. The guy can't talk. The guy's been involved in some shitty ass storylines. The way they handled his first two title runs were fucking bogus. I'm not going back on it. I've seen my video again. Not once did I say in that video that I go back on what I said about Roman Reigns. They didn't like how they were giving him a fake stone cold copycat storyline with him versus McMahon. I never once went back and said anything that I said. I wasn't a hypocrite. Didn't go back on anything. And of course, once again, getting accused, people putting words in my mouth. And I don't know how you people come off doing this all the time to me. Every single time I make a point, and I gotta say, they're great points. Don't mean to sound cocky here, don't mean to sound narcissistic, but it's a good point. I mean, Roman Reigns might not be my cup of tea, but the guy put on a good match at Extreme Rules, and he put a good match on at Payback. Two good matches. The guy has had good matches before in the past. Now, I was really into the match. It was great. I was entertained. So what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to come here in the YWC and I'm supposed to say that it was a bad match just because in the past I had said things about Roman Reigns that were totally unrelated to that match and the one at Payback? Am I supposed to play this character here? In the YWC where I just lie and say everything is shitty about Roman Reigns. I have said in the past that matches with Cena are good, and you know, it's a little bit different with Roman Reigns than John Cena. People gave me shit about that. I also did a video like about 2 or 3 months ago where I said, where I kind of gave a little bit of a theory. I tried to throw it out there to the people of the YWC that, hey, maybe the product is a little bit boring because Cena's not there, because I noticed that the product started to go really, really downhill. Not like it wasn't already going downhill, but it started to go to an even larger extreme of going downhill once Cena left. So I posed the question. I proposed the theory to the YWC. Maybe Cena is more of an asset to the WWE than we once thought. Even with all the hate, the screaming, the crying, the bitching, the moaning, Cena's ruining everything. Still, he brings a certain level of excitement. For example, Remember the last Raw that I saw live, and I did a review here with all my friends. We were in there, and we're in the car. We're talking about Raw after we saw it at the Barclays Center. We all were there, and we all said that Raw was boring. But then when Cena came out to talk to Alberto Del Rio, all of a sudden things got turned up a notch. It was almost like somebody had their hand on a dial and just bam, the energy just turned up in the room, turned up in the arena. And even though the people were seeing wrestlers that you could say were more talented, were better wrestlers, the minute Cena walked out the curtain, the whole place fucking exploded. Even with John Cena sucks singing along to his song, you notice that people were still into Cena. You notice that people got off their feet for Cena. They stopped sitting on their hands like they were for the whole match. Remember, I was saying I'd never seen a more dead crowd in New York. And when Cena came out, people were going fucking crazy. So, and I told the truth. I said I don't like Cena, but my brain processes that this is something positive that I should be saying and presenting here in my videos. I could lie and be like, "Oh, Cena sucks," and when he came out, the show got even worse. I would be lying. Why would you people want me to do that? Aren't I the person here in the YWC that calls them like they see them? Am I supposed to be like brute splits? Am I supposed to do an overly extended, long, dragged out video with the sidekick agreeing with everything I'm saying? Oh, you're right, Bruce. Remember the black guy that was with Bruce during his videos? It was sickening. It made me want to vomit. Just catering to get extra views here on YouTube. I could post 20, 30, 40 videos of just saying how terrible Raw is, lying when segments are good. Like for example, people just expect me to say the whole show is bad, and when I do it, people call me a negative Nancy. And when I don't do it, people say that I'm just being a brainwashed WWE mark and I'm lying and I'm being hypocritical. As I've said in the past, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't here in the YWC. That's how it goes. You can't satisfy everybody here in the YWC because people used to call Bruce out on it too. Bruce would get like 100 times the views and subscribers that I got. I ain't gonna lie about that. Once again, telling the truth. That's what I do. Bruce would lie and cater, and people would be calling him out on it all the time. I stood away from the Bruce drama, but Wrestling Jesus did a fine job of calling out Bruce on all his fucking bullshit, catering to all the loser IWC marks and shit like that. All the smarky fans, oh, Cena sucks. Oh, we agree with you, Bruce. And they would all be there sucking Bruce's dick, saying what a legend he was and what a messianic figure he was here in the YWC, just because he agreed with all his pathetic viewers used to say about him. And if you actually watch this video, did you people actually sit through his 3 hour fucking podcast reviews? Did you actually sit through those reviews, people? Because Bruce was very popular here when he was on YouTube. Did you guys honestly sit here and listen to every single word of bullshit that guy said? Because if you did, I'd take extreme fucking pity on you. I've never seen. I couldn't even get to 30 minutes of that fucking review. First of all, it was full of fucking bullshit. The guy would start off every single review the same exact way. Oh, Raw is horrible. It's unwatchable. The same thing. completely steering clear of doing anything productive, like addressing why the show is bad. It was always, oh, it's Cena. Oh, well, why am I watching this? TNA is so much better. The guy had no credibility. He would actually say that TNA was better than WWE, and people were actually buying into this, and they were gonna watch the shows. You got some Mamalukes here on in the fucking YWC who tried to catch me a couple of times because I said a few impacts were good back in the day. From fucking 4 years ago, I said that there was a couple of good impacts, and people are calling me out on saying 4 or 5 good impacts happened in the past, and they're trying to catch me in a lie, because that's what they do here. They've always done this. Oh, they love it when they catch me like in something that contradicts in the past. It's like no one is allowed to call them like they see them. No one's allowed to have a differing opinion. So, I could complain about a Cena segment, and Cena was getting booked and written into some shitty segments and things like that. And the moment I said Cena did something good, I'm a hypocrite. It's because maybe the segment was better, maybe the match was better than what we're accustomed to. So when I say, hey, you know what? The Cena match wasn't as bad as the past ones. Hypocrite! I'm getting sick of that fucking shit. It's the same thing. I'm talking about how Roman Reigns is being promoted poorly. They're making him into a Stone Cold knockoff. They wrote him into some stupid ass storyline that just completely stole the content from the Stone Cold McMahon angle from 1998 to 1999. They excuse me, shoehorned him in to some bogus ass storyline that was a watered down version of a classic storyline from back in the day. And I said that, I'm not buying this bullshit. It looked ridiculous. He was having a seemingly endless feud with Sheamus. It was going on for months. And I said I didn't like it. I didn't think it was good. And the fucking tournament that they have for the world title was an uneventful mess. And the whole Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns tournament final, they could have done so many more interesting things with it. It was just bland match after bland match. And Roman Reigns was cutting some ridiculously scripted promos about tater tots. And then I noticed that after Mania, they were trying a little bit harder. They booked Reigns against the right opponent. They gave him AJ Styles. AJ Styles carried him. As Big T put it perfectly. Yes, you, Big T. You put it perfectly in the comments section of one of my videos. It takes two to tango. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for putting it in that particular fashion, because that is exactly what I would say. And I can't believe I didn't say it first. It does take two to tango, and I alluded to this a little bit without using that exact terminology. It takes two to tango. Everybody likes to say this fucking bullshit. Oh, he carried him through the match. They carried Cena through the match. Every single person says this bullshit, and that is not the fucking case. Roman Reigns, when he gets in there, the guy is not botching anything. All right? And he was selling during the match, and people are just downright lying, saying that he's not selling. I said, look at the match. The guy is selling like a maniac. He's actually putting on a good show here. After looking at matches with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, you really got a clear picture of the difference when guys like AJ and Roman Reigns work as compared to the other guys on the roster. The match looked better. It you felt like you appreciated it more. Now, of course, I think it's mostly younger fans is what it is. That they don't know like how wrestling is supposed to work. They think that it's some type of fucking stunt show where it's all about suicide dives in every match. And I've explained this in the past. You never used to see this back in the day. Every single guy hitting a fucking super kick, every guy fucking hitting a suicide dive. You know, it's like everybody has the same moves. As I said, everybody hits a super kick. Back in the day, it was only Shawn Michaels. Only Shawn Michaels hit the super kick. It felt special. Now you've got everybody hitting every fucking move in Damnation. It even got to the point where Ryback, that guy was even doing corkscrew planches because, you know, I guess they were telling Ryback that he had to step up his game. So the guy went out there and was pulling off high flying moves just as good as Sin Cara. I mean, that's the point that we've reached where it's ridiculous, where somebody that got the size of Ryback has to perform those types of moves in order, you know, for because these fucking writers and bookers and agents, they can't figure out how to get these guys over. So they tell Ryback to go out there and do more high flying moves. I'm fucking sick and tired of this fucking bullshit. You see, that's the thing. That's the problem with Roman Reigns, and I see the light, motherfuckers. It's not that Roman Reigns is a bad worker. It's the fact that he's being booked like shit. It's the same thing like John Cena. Don't you guys notice? Back in the day, John Cena was super over in 2003 and 2004 and part of 2005. It was only the fucking case that later on they started booking him the wrong way, booking him with a different style because the writers changed, McMahon's vision changed, I guess, and things just went fucking downhill. And things changed for Cena. So the whole crowd went from cheering him to like doing the 75% of the crowd booing him. So you see, it's not the problem was not with Cena. Cena was working with the material given. See, this is the thing that I've noticed. And you know, and you guys, if you really paid attention to what I was saying, really the blame that I was giving Roman Reigns was not on himself, but how they were booking him. Yes, I said that the guy doesn't exactly have a big arsenal of moves, but the guy is willing to implement as many moves as he possibly can. And when he does do these moves, hell, he's better than a lot of other guys. He hit the fucking seated crucifix power bomb. This guy has hit some great looking moves and he does them really well. And we have to give him credit when he does something good. I mean, like I said, are we supposed to sit there and just complain like a bunch of fucking idiots when the guy is making a genuine effort to improve and he's doing a good job? You guys said that you wanted a more hardcore environment in WWE. AJ Styles and Roman Reigns are giving you a hardcore match, and you people are knocking it. You guys love AJ Styles, but what do? You knock the guy's match just because he's in there with Roman Reigns. I mean, holy fucking shit, the match was awesome. And people are just going to let this one ride off into the sunset, completely write it off just because Roman Reigns is involved. What a bunch of fucking horseshit. I mean, honestly, let's just be honest here. I mean, come on. You are really going to tell me that that was a bad match? He kicked out of the style clash on the steel chair. No, motherfuckers. He did not. What he did was AJ hit the move. He pinned Roman Reigns, and then one of the Usos dragged him off of Reigns. Now I said that, you know, okay, so maybe when AJ pinned him 2 seconds later, that should have constituted a fucking kick out. But then again, if Roman is the biggest star on the roster, shouldn't it be hard to beat him? I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin kicked out of rock bottoms, people's elbows, tombstone pile drivers, pedigrees, motherfuckers, because he was the biggest star. So, you know, the thing is what I'm saying, the argument is that a guy like Sami Zayn or a guy like Kevin Owens or a guy like Cesaro shouldn't be kicking out of fucking finishers. But yeah, okay, but people once again are lying. Reigns didn't kick out of that move. He was dragged off by one of the Usos. So it's like I don't really understand how people expect to be taken seriously. Oh, we don't take you seriously, Brad. You're a phony. I'm a phony because I'm calling it as I see it. Roman Reigns was selling during the match. I was entertained. Am I supposed to sit there like, oh, I want to love the match, but I can't? I can't love the match because some people in the YWC are going to bully me and make comments on my video and dislike it because, they're too immature to admit when they enjoy something. I'm not going to lower myself to that level. I'm not going to be a fucking child. I'm a fucking adult. If I'm entertained by something, I'm going to be like, hey, I enjoyed that. I'm not going to be like, oh, I got to stick to my YWC principles. Fuck no. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. I am not catering to anybody like Bruce Dumbass Blitz, where that's all the guy fucking did. Because those weren't even half of his real opinions. It was just he'd read his comments section and be like, oh, you know what? I'm getting a real great response from the Cena haters. So I'm just going to dedicate my whole video. The guy would barely even talk about the show. He would barely run through the matches. And he would go back to how much he hated Cena. Compare everything to Cena. Like Cena was the epitome of the whole fucking WWE. Half the time, the guy would be out there for 10 minutes and he would dedicate 2.5 hours of his podcast to Cena. But why am I bringing up the guy so much? Why am I bringing up Blue Splits? Because that's what people want me to be here on YouTube. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be your Roman Reigns hating version of Bruce Blitz. If that's what you want to do, make your own channel. Make your own videos. Half the people who troll me don't even have the guts to get in front of a camera here in the YWC and take on a YouTube channel. If you want to have videos on YouTube where all it is just bashing Roman Reigns, even when it doesn't make any sense to do so, then make your own fucking channel. Make your own channel and you can do all the Roman Reigns hate that you want. But guess what? You ain't going to get that from me. I'm not going to be your Roman Reigns hating whore. That's not what I came here to do on YouTube. I haven't done that for 4 years here on YouTube. And I ain't going to start now. As I said, if you guys want that, if that's your, MO here on YouTube is to bring about a revolution of Roman Reigns hating psychopaths, then go right ahead. Go right ahead, motherfuckers. Do what you gotta do. It's a free fucking country. But I ain't gonna be your puppet, to spew all this Roman Reigns hate. As I said, I'm not a fan of the guy. I'm only gonna say when the guy does something good. If he cuts promos about tater tots or anything like that style again, I'm gonna go right back to knocking him. But until then, not gonna do that. I like the direction of his character at the moment. It ain't fantastic, but he ain't this, clean cut baby face heel like they were making him out to be. He's got shades of gray. He's a tweener at the moment. And, it's okay. He's not great, but it's okay. It's not something that I'm losing my mind over. What I am losing my mind over at the minute is this retarded ass brand split that they're doing that makes no fucking sense. And people are like talking about fucking polls on WWE.com that say that people missed the brand split. What a bunch of fucking horseshit. Look at the ratings, for God's sakes. Like I said, once again, why am I bringing this up? Because it relates to the YWC and the IWC and everybody else in between. You guys need to get a fucking clue already. You can't just expect to be taken seriously in life lying about everything to prove a fucking point. The ratings went down during the brand split. They did everything in their power to demean SmackDown. And they showed that when they did the bragging rights pay-per-views. And they would have like Eric Bischoff and people calling SmackDown the B show. And after a while, the show became the B show. And then they still had a brand split, and all they were doing was super shows with all these crossovers to the point where it didn't even matter anymore. And like I said, nothing is as good as it used to be. So why is an idea that wasn't even that great to begin with going to be even better during the PG era or this new era? It's not a new era. It's a bunch of horse shit. So once again, people are giving me shit about this too. I mean, what is it? People want to call me a WWE mark when I put over just two good matches that Roman Reigns had. That's all I did. And I said that the guy was selling at Extreme Rules, and people were lying and saying he wasn't. So here I go again. That's my positivity, and then I do a negative video saying that I don't think that the brand split's going to be a very good idea at this point in time. Oh, you're negative. It's like, guys, I've lived through this already. I've seen the Attitude Era. I know how good WWE can be. I've watched the brand extension. I know that it wasn't as good as the Attitude Era, and it wasn't one of their best times. I know you guys are going back on the network and watching these shows, maybe. And yeah, compared to today, those shows look like fucking masterpieces in comparison. But that's because anything would be better than today. But it's not going to be that again. It's not going to be that. You don't even have any of the same stars as back then. There's no Undertaker or Batista that's going to be there all the time to provide star power for these shows. You're not going to have these larger than life figures on your shows anymore. Edge is retired. He's not there anymore. There's no Kurt Angle. Brock Lesnar's only there sometimes. For a while, Paul Heyman was writing for SmackDown. So you could definitely see how this brand extension is not going to be as good as the last one. So that is why I don't like it. But of course, I could explain this in 1,000 videos. I could do fucking 3-hour long Bruce Blitz style videos of giving examples and shit of how the brand extension wasn't as good as people are remembering it. But let's all look at polls on WWE.com, because those things are never manipulated. And fuck polls. Holy shit. Is this what you guys are going on, a fucking poll off of the website? Yeah, guys. Anyway, so all this, not being a Roman Reigns ass licker or anything like that. It's just all about telling the truth, all right? All right.